Hi, I'm Joan Kang Shin. Welcome to Our World's Professional Development Program. These videos will help teachers improve their classroom practice and help their students to get the most out of Our World. This video is about how to empower our young learners for the 21st century. We'll see how using real-world content in the classroom enables students to interact better with other people, other cultures, and ultimately with their world. In this video, you will also see how exciting and effective it can be to use real-world content from National Geographic.
I love using these National Geographic materials with the kids in the class.
They're about the real world.
At the same time, it's important as well to link everything in their lives with the language.
They can see how the world is, not in Guatemala, but in the whole world.
Paulo Freire, the Brazilian educator and philosopher, believed that reading the word means reading the world. This idea is particularly relevant to teaching English in the 21st century. Because English has become a global language, learning the language means learning the world. As a result, we need to teach learners English that will help them interact with people all over the world. This means using real-world content about other people, places, cultures, and issues, so our young learners can read the world as they read the word. Real-world content inspires children to explore this fascinating world and their place in it. Seeing photos from around the world sparks their curiosity, and teaching them about the planet and people from different cultures will broaden their perspective on the world and themselves. Let's learn more about how to use Our World materials to bring the real world into your classroom. English has become the world's lingua franca. It is used internationally as a language for science, technology, business, trade, tourism, and diplomacy. In fact, there are more speakers of English as a second or foreign language in this century than there are native speakers of English. David Crystal, the linguist, estimates that there are about 400 million native speakers of English, whereas there are over 1 billion speakers of English as a second or foreign language. Another well-known linguist, David Gradel, predicts that in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be around 2 billion people learning English. The status of English as a global language means that our children will grow up not only speaking to people from the US or the UK, as in the last century. Our young learners will grow up speaking English with people from any and all countries around the world. If our children are to grow up to become global citizens and use English to interact with people from diverse cultures, we have to make sure we include real-world content that will help them understand other people and cultures. Be sure you always bring materials about different cultures into the classroom. Our World incorporates content from other cultures in every unit. For example, in this unit called Arts, Lost and Found, students see images and read information about different traditions and art forms from other cultures. They learn about storytelling through dancing in Laos, a jaguar rain dance in Mexico, cloth weaving in Ghana, and the 2,000-year-old Chinese tradition of dragon boat racing. You may learn some new information about other cultures as well, so have fun with the material. And remember that your enthusiasm for other people and cultures will spark enthusiasm in your young learners as well.
Teaching culture is a big part of working with young learners.
The idea of learning a new language is to go outside and get to know new places and new people and be able to communicate with them.
They're learning about the world. So they have to think about how they're a part of that world and how they participate in that world. Even if they're very, very far away, there is a connection somehow.
They will be able to start a conversation with something that they already know about that new culture.
It really creates that idea of we're a community. We're a world community, and I have responsibility within that bigger community.
Using real-world content is also an effective way to teach global citizenship and values and prepare young learners to be successful in our rapidly changing world. Our World has a National Geographic values page in each unit. These pages promote good values for children, such as respecting animals, loving your family, being a good sport, and taking care of others. In upper levels, the National Geographic values page is called Mission and highlights the work and words of a National Geographic explorer. These explorers, who are from different parts of the world, contribute to the betterment of our planet. These pages bring more real-world content to the classroom and inspire children to explore the world more. They encourage them to be curious as well as value their own cultural traditions. Always connect students to their home culture in the English language classroom. As you explore the world through the real-world content of National Geographic, it will be a natural step to connect the content with students' lives. Making the local home culture connection will help young learners see the relevance of the content and give them the motivation to learn and use English. It will also help them build a strong understanding of themselves and their place in the world. In the unit, Arts, Lost and Found, after learning about traditions from other cultures, students are encouraged to examine their own culture. They sing a song called Keep Your Culture Strong and use the language they learned and the examples of traditions from other cultures to think and talk about their own cultural traditions. The National Geographic Mission page reinforces the value of keeping cultural traditions alive. Watch how this teacher emphasizes talking about the students' home culture in English.
Students being able to express their home culture through English is one of the ultimate goals that I think we have as English teachers, because you want them to be able to talk about themselves and who they are within their culture, and that really enables them to communicate with the world. So I think that having things that have to do with outside culture, but also things that have to do with their own culture in English, it will really open doors for them to express themselves even more.
In life, people learn language and content at the same time. In addition to cultural content, you should integrate academic content into your English language classroom. Integrating content from different classes like science and social studies makes language learning more interesting and engaging. It will also help prepare young learners who may eventually study these subjects in English. Notice how this teacher starts a unit called My Place in the World by warming students up with a geography lesson.
Can you see country? What country can you see in the picture?
Korea.
Korea? Oh, can you find Korea over there?
Yes.
Where?
There. In the world.
There? Can you point out?
There.
This? There?
No. There.
Is it Korea?
There.
This approach is called Content and Language Integrated Learning, or CLIL. It is a way to contextualize language instruction by integrating it with other learning, especially what is being taught and learned in students' other classes. It provides opportunities to reinforce in English the academic skills and knowledge learned in other classes. Talk to the other teachers in your school and familiarize yourself with what students are learning in other classes. If you can make the connection between content they are learning in their native language and the content in your English class, you will strengthen your students' understanding of concepts and their ability to express themselves in both languages. Take a look at these pages from Our World that bring in real subject area content from science, math, social studies, history, art, music, and physical education. Using real-world and multicultural content is essential for young learners who are growing up to become global citizens. Learning the word is learning the world. Bringing the world into the classroom will also motivate learners to prepare them to become successful adults. English is the international language of science, technology, commerce, tourism, and diplomacy, so we should incorporate content that helps prepare learners to communicate in English for these purposes. English is also the language of global problem solving. Using National Geographic images and content will help our children explore other places and cultures and encourage them to care about other people and our fascinating and precious yet endangered world. Their increased understanding of their world and ability to communicate in English across cultures will help young learners become good global citizens. Remember what John F. Kennedy said. Children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future. Let's bring real-world content into our English language classroom to motivate students and build their knowledge and skills for this exciting and increasingly interconnected century we live in.
This is our world. Everybody's got a song to sing. Each boy and girl. This is our world.